Now then, how you doing? I hope you're well. We visited Stonehenge recently, probably one of the most recognisable prehistoric monuments in the world. And I must confess, up until now, even though I visited it on a couple of occasions in the past, I've never actually painted it. So I reckon it's time to put that right. I'm in the south of England, on Salisbury Plain, an area of extensive chalk downlands covering roughly 300 square miles, that is simply bursting with ancient history. Today we're going to visit three of its most famous locations. Our visit to the area begins at Old Sarum, the site of a mighty Iron Age hill fort and the earliest known settlement of Salisbury. Well, there isn't much left of the fort, yet the site still manages to retain something of its 5,000 years of history and of the Romans, Normans and Saxons who came before. Once a sanctuary for the Magna Carta and a prison for Eleanor of Aquitaine, the Motte and Bailey Castle was one of the first to be built after the conquest of 1066. Well, the medieval keep may be gone, but its ramparts still provide visitors with extensive views across the surrounding landscape. Stop was the village of Avebury. Having been lucky to find a parking spot in the very busy National Trust car park, we decided to eat lunch before taking a walk out to see the stones for which the location is so famous. The village of Avebury is partly surrounded by a massive prehistoric stone circle. Well, nobody seems to know for sure precisely why the stones were erected here, but most seem to agree that it was a ceremonial site of sorts and part of a greater system of such monuments reaching out across what was clearly a sacred landscape. All of which brings me to our final stop of the day. No visit to the area is complete without a pilgrimage to the mother of all prehistoric circles, Stonehenge. The site is jointly managed by the National Trust and English Heritage, with paying guests transferred from their modern visitor centre to the stones literally in busloads. On arrival at the site, visitors are restricted to walking around the outside of the monument. This restriction is lifted twice a year, however, at the summer and winter solstices, when 15,000 drum-beating druids and pagans alike gather to welcome the sunrise. However one chooses to experience it, there is no denying Stonehenge remains an enigmatic mystery of epic, eon-spanning proportions. When preparing to embark upon any watercolour painting, the artist is always faced with several choices. One of those choices is whether to paint a scene exactly as it is presented to us on the day, or to depict it as our imagination might visualise it, perhaps conveying a completely different mood or atmosphere. Well, as far as Stonehenge is concerned, it is certainly a subject that I might feel compelled to return to multiple times, but since this is the first time I have decided to paint it, my instinct tells me that I should throw caution to the wind and follow my imagination. This then is my interpretation of Stonehenge. Well, it's a dramatised, slightly romanticised interpretation of what is, without doubt, an iconic ancient monument. Well, I've deliberately kept textures to a minimum, but hope that the subject explains itself coherently and, above all, makes some sort of sense. Well, I doubt there will be many folks who have never heard of Stonehenge. Even if they've never visited it in person, most will have seen photos or video on TV or in books. Painting icons does come with its own challenges. For starters, everyone will have their own idea about how it should look, and anything that doesn't match up to their vision may possibly be judged harshly by them. Now, I'm not saying that one person's vision is right and another is wrong. I'm just saying that we all bring our own interpretation to the subject, and all views, however diverse they may be, are valid. Well, if you have 5 minutes, I recommend you take a look online at the wide variety of work featuring Stonehenge that have been painted over the years in a broad range of media and styles, from hyper-realistic to abstract. One thing they almost all have in common is a desire to convey it as an enigma, a mystery that will almost certainly never be fully solved. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do hit the like button. It really does make a difference, or maybe leave a comment. Please don't complain that the demonstration goes too fast for you to follow. It's not meant to be a tutorial, it's a sample. But here's an idea. Why not become a studio member of my YouTube channel? With that, you'll get instant access to the full-length non-time-lapsed version of the demonstration, from which this has just been a very small extract, along with a bursting back catalogue of full-length demonstrations and tutorials, all for you to enjoy at any time. To subscribe, just hit that join button below. I should also mention that there are other sign-up options available, full details of which you'll find in the video description. In the meantime, take care.